It's ridiculous.
Man,
it's
you
the same
just
thing
got
with
to
the Colts.
expect it in sports nowadays. Same thing with Indiana State, same thing with everybody.
Yep. Somebody out there casted a spell on Indiana sports and said this year, 2019, is going to be rough. So they better get ready. And they did a good job of casting that spell because Malcolm Brogdon, he went out in the first quarter against the Rockets. He didn't play against the Bucks. Still no Lamb. Sabonis has been questionable. He's actually playing tonight right now against the Nets. Turner did just come back. And then you still have Sumner out, Vic out, who I think is going to come back pretty soon. Everyone was saying like February. I think we'll see him sometime mid-December into January, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, man, the injuries are just they're annoying. Like as a fan, they're super annoying because you see how much potential a team has,
and sometimes it takes so much away from the athlete. He might not want to.
Yep.
I've seen college football players now more than ever. A lot of them quitting.
Yep.
Quitting. They see that type of damage that the sport can do to their body, and
But you talk about injuries tonight. They're playing the Nets, who they're actually up 14 right now against the Nets. So shout out. The Nets have no Kyrie, so that's a plus. But we still have no Brogdon. Sabonis is playing. He scored his season high 29 points against Brooklyn in the beginning of the season, who you remember the Nets were the first team they beat after that 0-3 start.
Yep.
So I want to see Turner and Warren kind of take over tonight on the offensive and defensive end, really. So we'll see how that plays out. Like I said, as we're doing this, they're up 14 on the Nets right now, so big shout-out to the Pacers.
I just think, the biggest thing, I think first off, getting this win is big in general because they're 7-6, and I think it's just good to keep that winning.
Yep, and
winning side
they've lost
up.
2 straight, so get back on that winning side.
Yeah, and then, just another thing is it's kind of rough right now. You go straight from playing the Bucks, who is a strong team, and then you go back to Brooklyn, a team, I know you beat them earlier, so that's going to make it hard to beat them the second time. You go back there. You're away. You were already away the first time you beat them.
Which is odd. You would think they'd be here this time.
Yeah, so they got to go over there and they got to do all of that. So it's a hard right now for them, but I think that they still should be able to execute.
Yeah.
I think they've been doing a great job just in general, just being a team because they've been spreading it out. They've been spreading the ball out.
Which you love to see. You love to see that.
Defensively, they make stuff happen when it matters, and I think that's where it matters at the most.
Right,
you got to be able to do that. So,
but we need to do it against the top teams. You see James Harden put up almost 50 on us, which James Harden's he's doing insane things once again. And then we played the Bucks. We couldn't stop Giannis, so we got to do it on the defensive end against top caliber teams, which we really haven't played any this year besides the Rockets, the Nets, and the Bucks. So we'll see as time goes on. But when you play the worst teams, those are the games you have to win to set yourself up for the top teams. So we'll continue to see how it plays out for sure.
All right, then Indianapolis Colts, man,
huge win. I want to give a shout out. That's a big time home win against the divisional Jags, man. You love to see it.
Yeah, and everybody thought. And you even said it yourself, man. You said you thought Nick Foles was going to come back.
Yep.
And, everybody thought that was going to happen. He was going to come back and go crazy. But
they did the first possession, and then the Colts answered 100%.
And he didn't have a completely bad game. He was 33 of 47, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he also had an interception.
Yes, sir. Rock Ya-Sin.
Brissett, he did what Brissett does. He was really, he doesn't do too much. He doesn't lose the game for you.
He does what he needs to do.
Yeah. Williams for the Colts did really good. 13 carries, 116 yards. He didn't score, but 116 yards. That's a lot of help for the offense.
Followed by the 109 by Marlon Mack. 2 100-yard rushers. Give a lot of credit to that offensive line.
What do you think the biggest hurt is the biggest loss I can say that Indianapolis took in this last game?
Right now, it's just that Marlon Mack injury because he's fractured hand. He's going to be out for a couple weeks now. Just continuing to talk about injuries, this time with the Colts. But as of right now on Monday, it's the Marlon Mack injury. So we'll see how Jonathan Williams plays with Naheem Hines at running back. And then you have the T.Y. injury still. His return likely after the Houston game. I don't see him playing Thursday just because of how short of a week it is. They play in literally 3 days, which sucks because that's T.Y. Hilton's house down there in that Houston stadium. He does better than the Houston offense every time we play him down there. But yeah, you asked the biggest hurt, definitely that Mac injury, that fractured hand, to leave him out for a couple weeks.
That's what I was going to say. That is a big loss because Marlon Mack, he's not completely developed yet. He's still growing into
top tier running back.
And I'm not saying he's a bad running back. He's still good, and I think Jonathan Williams came in. He wasn't bad. He had 117 yards. And this was on 15 carries. That's an average of 7 yards. That's not bad. Nope. And he was drafted out of Arkansas, so he's got, that grit, that down south grit that they have in the South with football, with lowering your shoulder.
Yep.
So I like that about him. I think
it's a good thing because with the offensive line that we have, if they're consistent, any running back can be consistent following them big boys up front. So that's a plus that the Colts have.
So I think the big thing, is, just being a team, doing exactly what they've been doing.
Yep.
Because they've been facing injuries all year. T.Y. Hilton, he's wonderful. He's a big key to us. And they've still won. They've won games without him. Yeah, you can go on forever.
Yep. The wide receiver core is really bad for the Colts just because of all those. I was thinking about it last night. I literally just said it out loud and it upset me. T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, Devin Funches. Imagine those guys 100% back playing with Brissett and that offensive line with Marlon Mack.
Yep.
Dude, nobody in the league is stopping that offense except themselves because they keep getting injured. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, we're banged up at the receiver. We're banged up at secondary. Watch for Houston to take advantage of that with their receivers that they have and obviously of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and, Houston is going to be a big game also. You look at, they got one thing that Houston has that's really hard to stop is they have a receiving core that's really good. So the secondary has to be on their toes just in general. They're averaging 24 points per game. So obviously we're going to have to get them below that because the Colts only average 22 points per game. So we got to make sure we do that for sure. Another thing is, I don't know, you look at the games and the win-losses that it's been for these past 5 games. I think that they're both kind of coming off the same thing. Texans, they took a loss to Baltimore, and they took a loss to us.
Yep.
We took a loss to Pittsburgh and Miami, which
you don't gotta
is
say
terrible.
It out loud. Come on.
Which is terrible. So you get those 2 losses, they 2 losses, and then the rest of their wins, the Colts beat Denver, Houston, and Jacksonville, and then the Texans beat Kansas City, Oakland, and Jacksonville also. So they beat, they beat 3 teams, and they lost to 2 teams that they probably didn't want to lose to.
Yep.
So I think that they're both coming in with the same momentum.
And one thing about the Texans is they're coming off a loss like that in a short week. Expect them.
Yeah.
Because just like the Colts, they came off a loss against the Dolphins. They came out with just insane intensity against the Jags. So the Texans are going to be coming off that as exactly the same thing. They're going to be at home off a short week. They're trying to put that loss to the Ravens behind them as quick as possible against an AFC South rival like the Colts are. Thursday night football down in Houston is always awesome to watch.
And it's going to be a big game just because 6-4 in the AFC South.
Biggest game of the season.
6-4 in the AFC South. Both of them.
Biggest game of the season.
One is at number 1 already, and one is at number 2 already. So they're fighting. They're fighting for that number 1 spot.
Yep. Colts are in it right now just because of the win against Houston earlier in the season. Like I said, Colts are still undefeated in the division. If they can win this one, I think our playoff chances are kind of sealed. You got to think. Just because we'll win the division, and then we're at home against the Titans, which I don't see the Titans beating us at home. So we'll see. It's the biggest game of the season. I'm gonna be nervous all week though. I'll tell you that.
Yes, sir. And I pretty much don't got anything else, man. That's all that's going on in the sports world. I wish it was more for you guys. I wish it was more we could talk about. It's more things that we have talked about that I could talk about a little more, but it's about time for us to get out of here. So
Yes, sir. We'll be back later on in the week with some more recaps. We'll record next one on Thursday, probably before the Colts game, so we won't have the update against that. But episode 8 on Friday, same thing.
And make sure you guys check us out on everything, man. Spreaker, I've been checking out the analytics. We've been getting a lot of listens on there.
Shout out to
Anchor,
you guys.
Apple Podcasts. Look, man, we're waiting for our iHeartRadio to accept the podcast. What you guys waiting for, man?
They're the last ones. Like, why would you want to be the last ones to pick us up, you know?
Y'all, that's lame.
That's what I'm saying. And then, as always, I say, if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to share your comments on anything, send them in, type them if there's a comment section anywhere. We'll answer them. We'll talk about it. We'll get you guys involved in the podcast for sure.
No, I still want to just keep talking to iHeartRadio. I want you guys to know it's that. Come on, man. That's you the last one.
Yep. They're looking
even
at
Apple Music. Even they accepted us. Come on now.
Yep.
But yeah, man. Anyway, man, you guys can listen to us on everything, man. Spreaker, Anchor. We on anything that has podcasts on it. You can go in there and we're on it. The only thing we're not on right now is iHeart, and that's because they're playing games. They're lame. So everybody else though, everywhere else, man, we on there. And yes, so make sure you guys. Oh yes, and that's Spotify too. We stopped promoting that.
Yep. Since
we've been on there, so yeah, check us out on Spotify too, man.
If you go to our Anchor or our Spreaker, it takes you wherever else we're on. Those are like our main home pages, pretty much. Because they have all the other links for you to listen. So definitely check us out. If you guys haven't, follow along. This has been a lot of fun. We're grinding them out twice a week.
It's like clockwork, man.
Dude, it's awesome. I love it. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and we've just got to keep going.
Another thing is, I usually tell you guys who's the basketball team is playing next. They're going to be in the Giancano Jam.
The Bahamas.
So I don't know exactly what that is. I thought it was a 3-team tournament. They're playing 3 teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is what it is. It might just be 3 exhibitions. One is on Thursday, one is on Friday, and one is on Sunday. And that's in the Bahamas. They play DeQuincy, Loyola, Marymount, and Air Force. So
yep.
We'll see what they do there.
It'll be interesting to see how they go.
We'll see how they respond, because Key coming off a rough game, Barnes still kind of building up off that bad game in Louisville. Yep. So it'll be big. But it's not preview time. We'll get to that on Friday. So you guys go ahead. Make sure you guys check us out on everything. Chop it up to podcast at gmail.com is where you can hit us at. Dozier Amere on Twitter, capital D, capital A. Baylee, go ahead and tell them your Twitter handle.
Just Bay1E, Bayy1EE. Go ahead and drop the follow.
Yes, sir.
Pacers up 23, just saying.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Peace.